Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Ask the Experts program, Leading Through Volatility, Protecting the Corner Office. In today's environments, boards are facing an extraordinary mix of external and internal pressures, geopolitical instabilities, cyber threats, CEO burnout, and sudden leadership transitions. The question we'll explore today is, how do boards protect both the leader and the organization when volatility is the norm? So Heather, I'm going to start with you, and maybe you can, and just for the audience, I'm going to pull everybody in so we start everybody in the conversation, and then we'll do deeper dives with our experts. But first to you, Heather, what's the headline discussion today about the CEO and the C-suite considering the level of volatility that everyone's dealing with?
Yeah, sure. Certainly the world has changed, business has changed, particularly since COVID, for everyone from the CEO through the C-suite and beyond. As a result, their roles have changed. And particularly for those in public companies with investor dynamics also changing, their world is changing even more. But the overarching umbrella for everybody is really around the importance of adaptability and need to move very quickly, more so than they ever had to before. And if we think about sort of this generation of leaders, as they were growing up early in their careers, this idea of the world changing and technology changing every year didn't exist. So the need to have to adapt quickly and move quickly is just a muscle that most leaders have been building on the fly, mostly on their own over the last 5 years. And so as a result, what we're seeing in leadership today is what's needed to be an effective leader is just fundamentally different than it was 10 years ago, let's say. And humanity is really coming to the forefront in a way that it wasn't before. And there are a lot of implications for that, which I'll talk about later. But in terms of overarching theme, that's one of the big trends and implications we're seeing.
Great, thanks, Heather. Eric, if I turn to you, it wasn't too long ago that security was a question you dealt with when you were going to various parts of the world that were higher risk. Today, that risk is everywhere, including here in the US, and that changed pretty dramatically in December of 2024. Give us your perspective of how security concerns for the C-suite has shifted over the last few years.
Yeah, I do think there was a huge shift with Brian Thompson's murder back in December of 2024. I think a lot of applicable to this group, a lot of boards started talking with their C-suite team, their ELTs, to understand what security measures were in place. But forecasting into 2026, which I think that's kind of my overall approach to this panel is, we're going to see a lot of what we saw in 2025, the end of 2024 into 2025. I think we're going to see, more sophisticated. We've become more sophisticated. We're more globally interconnected. There is the rise and normalization of targeted activism and the use of digital exposure. These are all increasing risks that will continue to be next to kind of the geopolitical risks that have always been there, whether that was a coup in a certain country or some type of takeover or civil unrest in that country. There's also the natural disasters will always be there. Those are security and safety concerns that teams are going to have to consider and think about. The Family Wealth Report, they recently put out an article to just kind of really put some numbers behind this. 97% of global investors say it's important for companies to invest in the security of their executives. 7 out of 10 say that their senior executives represent a 30% value to the company. And to kind of because you mentioned Brian Thompson's murder, to kind of put that, kind of number to that, it's estimated $63 billion of UHC lost in the short aftermath behind Brian Thompson's murder. So I think just really we're going to see the threats, the risk increase based off this normalization that it's okay to take action, to be an activist, and have an axe to grind, and it's okay to put it out there. And unfortunately, I think we're going to see that across multiple sectors.
Great. Thanks, Eric. Nicole, it wasn't too long ago, and it's still important today, but strategy and hiring, firing the CEO was the board's top responsibilities. I've never remember a time where protecting the corner office came into the conversations. How are boards reacting to this higher level of volatility and all of the different threats out there?
Yes, Dennis, thank you for that. And it's great to be here with all of you. As you said, the board's role in supporting the CEO and really safeguarding the leadership continuity is really about protecting the enterprise's most valuable asset. And this is a lot of the work that we are doing today. That most critical asset is effective, stable leadership. We know that leaders come and go, but the institution remains. And we all know it really is the board's duty to see that that institution remains strong no matter who is in the corner office and no matter what challenges come their way. So we'll talk about this and some different strategies here, but we do see that today's boards are really expected to not just be the supervisors of management, but the true strategic partners in ensuring that leadership success and ensuring organizational resilience. So we'll talk about that. We've really seen that the intertwined challenges of both the CEO burnout, rapid turnover, the external threats that Eric was just mentioning, abrupt crises, all of these points, they really kind of point to one thing, that boards really have to be vigilant guardians of the corner office and supporting the CEO as a person and a leader. There are some different aspects to that today and some different strategies here that we'll talk about so that they can thrive and really deliver the long-term value that our organizations need. So it's planning for succession and having that be a living document, and ensuring that leadership continuity is really never in doubt. So it's a broader look at risk oversight, Dennis, and that definitely includes domains that are outside of the traditional purview. And I know we'll get into that a lot more today, but sound governance practices are really what will carry the organization through. And so looking forward to the conversation.
Great. So thanks everybody for kind of level setting us and peeling back a little bit the conversation that we want to have today.